Answering MCAT questions in under 60 seconds. A patient with nephrogenic diabetes insipidus, NDI, presents with large volumes of dilute urine. Based on the patient's condition, the renal tubules in this patient are most likely characterized by what? A says increased vasopressin receptors in the distal convoluted tubules. So remember that vasopressin is ADH. It's the same thing, so just keep that in mind, okay? And ADH, or vasopressin, normally promotes aquaporins to be inserted into the membrane of the collecting ducts. And that will promote water reabsorption, sodium-independent water reabsorption. So if we had more vasopressin receptors, we would expect more signaling and therefore less dilute urine, so more concentrated urine. But here we have large volumes of dilute urine, so that doesn't make sense. B says impaired expression of aquaporins in the collecting ducts. So that sounds more correct, right? Because if you don't have a lot of those aquaporins, you're not able to reabsorb water, and that water stays in the urine, it makes it very dilute, and you lose volume from your body. You lose water volume, okay? So that sounds correct. Now C says elevated levels of aldosterone in the blood system, or the bloodstream. And so there could be higher levels of aldosterone, right? But that doesn't explain specifically the large volumes of dilute urine, because having more aldosterone will actually help reabsorb water. So that should actually lower the volume of dilute urine here, right? So that's not really a good explanation for why that's happening. So that's wrong. And then D, overactivation of sodium glucose cotransporters in the proximal tubules, right? Well, here, if you overactivate sodium glucose cotransporters, you're actually going to be reabsorbing sodium, okay? And water will follow sodium, so that should actually lower the volume of urine, not increase it, okay? So again, that doesn't make sense. So B is the best answer. And by the way, in terms of D, if you are unsure about the direction of sodium movement here, you can remember that almost all of the glucose that gets filtered into the tubular filtrate at the glomerulus needs to be reabsorbed, right, back into the blood. And since this is a cotransporter and glucose is being reabsorbed, therefore sodium has to be moving in the same direction as glucose, which is back into the bloodstream.